Still high. They had experienced the thrill of a lifetime, but the dive was far from over. Little did they know that the real adventure was yet to begin. The waters remained calm for a while after the bull shark's departure. Still buzzing from the encounter, Alex thought about the majestic creature. However, Diego wore a look of concern. Though not typically aggressive, he had been diving in these waters for years and knew that bull sharks could be unpredictable. As the group continued to explore, Diego's experienced ears picked up on a sound that sent chills down his spine. A low-frequency thrum, almost invisible but unmistakable to him. The bull shark was returning and seemed more curious, perhaps even agitated. Before Diego could warn the group, the shark made its presence known. It darted towards Alex, who, in his earlier enthusiasm, had strayed slightly from the group. The rapid movement of the shark startled Alex, causing him to drop his camera, which sank into the depths below. Diego, realizing the gravity of the situation, swam swiftly toward Alex, positioning himself between the young tourist and the approaching shark. Using his experience, he tried to make himself appear larger, waving his arms and releasing bubbles from his regulator, attempting to deter the shark. The bull shark, possibly perceiving this as a challenge, made a swift warning pass close to Diego, its powerful tail brushing against him. Sensing the imminent danger, the rest of the group began to ascend slowly, releasing safety balloons to mark their position. Alex, paralyzed with fear, clung to Diego. The seasoned diver whispered words of reassurance, instructing Alex to stay calm and ascend slowly. The shark, perhaps distracted by the other divers or sensing no immediate threat, began to distance itself. After what felt like hours but was only minutes, Diego and Alex reached the surface where Marina's pride awaited them. The safety balloons alerted the crew on board and were ready to assist. Once on board, Alex, still in shock, clutched Diego tightly, thanking him for his bravery. The experience had a profound impact on Alex. He realized the importance of respecting nature and its inhabitants. He returned to the city with a memorable experience, a story of survival, and a newfound respect for the ocean's wonders. On the other hand, Diego continued diving, sharing his knowledge and experiences, always emphasizing the importance of safety and respect for marine life. As for the bull shark, it remained in the deep blue, a reminder of nature's marine ecosystem, the symbiotic relationships, and the role of predators like the bull shark in maintaining this balance. Ethan and Natalie began their descent as they anchored at a spot known for its diverse marine life. The world below was a riot of colors. Fish of all shapes and sizes darted around, and the coral stood tall, swaying gently with the currents. Ethan was spellbound, absorbing every detail, every movement. But as they ventured deeper, the mood changed. The playful chirps of the smaller fish gave way to a profound silence. The waters here were calmer, and the visibility was reduced. It was in this setting that Ethan felt a presence. Turning slowly, he came face to face with the majestic bull shark. Its eyes, cold and assessing, fixed on him. The next few moments were a blur. The shark, curious about these intruders, circled them. Every move it made was deliberate, showcasing its power and dominance. Though initially frozen in awe, Ethan remembered the guidelines for such encounters. Avoiding sudden movements and maintaining a calm demeanor was crucial. With years of experience, Natalie signaled Ethan to ascend slowly, ensuring they maintained a safe distance from the shark. As they moved upwards, the bull shark, perhaps satisfied with its assessment, retreated into the deeper waters. Back on the boat, the gravity of the encounter weighed on Ethan. He had met with one of nature's most formidable predators and lived to tell the tale. The experience, though harrowing, gave him a newfound respect for the ocean and its inhabitants. The adrenaline from their previous encounter with the bull shark hadn't quite worn off when Ethan desired to dive again. Natalie was initially hesitant, but seeing Ethan's determination, she agreed, emphasizing the need for even stricter precautions this time. The following morning, with the sun casting a golden hue over the waters, the group, equipped with advanced diving gear, set out again. The ocean, vast and mysterious, beckoned them. As they descended, the beauty of the marine world unfolded. Vibrant corals, schools of colorful fish, and the gentle sway of underwater plants created a mesmerizing tableau. However, as they ventured deeper, the atmosphere grew tense. The group was acutely aware of the potential dangers, especially in the region where they had previously encountered the bull shark. Their movements were deliberate, and they maintained a tight formation. Driven by curiosity and bravado, Ethan ventured slightly away from the group to explore a unique rock formation. It was then that he felt a sudden, powerful force. Before fully comprehending what was happening, he met with the same bull shark. In a swift move, the shark's powerful jaws clamped down on Ethan's leg, causing him to release a flurry of bubbles as he gasped in pain. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Natalie and the other divers acted quickly. They created a commotion to distract the shark using their diving tools and equipment. Their efforts paid off as the bull shark, momentarily disoriented, released its grip on Ethan. The group should have spent more time at the beginning of their ascent. With Natalie and another diver supporting Ethan, they made their way to the surface. Once on the boat, they quickly administered first aid to Ethan, wrapping his injured leg to stem the bleeding. The return to Byron Bay was somber. The reality of the ocean's unpredictability and its dangers was evident. Though in pain, Ethan was grateful for the quick thinking and actions of Natalie and the group. During his recovery, Ethan reflected on his experiences. The ocean, with its beauty and dangers, had taught him valuable lessons about respect and boundaries. He decided currents had brought it closer to shore. Hungry and curious, it sensed movement above and ascended toward the surface. Nana felt the thrill of the waves beneath her as she deftly positioned herself to catch one of the big ones. With a mighty push, she propelled herself onto the crest of a wave, riding it with exhilarating speed. But as she glided effortlessly over the water, she caught a glimpse of something unsettling out of the corner of her eye. A shadowy figure lurking beneath her. The realization hit her like a bolt of lightning. She knew what it was, and her heart pounded as the hammerhead shark surged upward, closing the distance with astonishing speed. The tranquil surf transformed into a chaotic battleground in the blink of an eye. On the shore, sunbathers and fellow surfers gasped in terror as they witnessed the horrifying spectacle unfolding offshore. The lifeguards stationed along the beach were the first to react. Their training kicked in and they sprinted toward the water, their red rescue buoys in hand. Nana, however, was alone in the midst of the turmoil. The hammerhead shark lunged toward her with terrifying force. Its enormous jaws gaped open, revealing rows of sharp teeth gleaming in the sunlight. Nana's heart raced and fear gripped her, but her instincts kicked in. She fought back, using her surfboard as a makeshift shield, pushing it between herself and the predatory shark. The shark's immense power slammed into the board, sending shockwaves through her body. Nana cried out in pain as she felt the board give way, splintering under the force of the impact. In the chaos of the attack, Nana's will to survive burned brighter than ever. She thrashed and kicked, using every ounce of her strength to fend off the relentless predator. The water churned around her, a frenzy of splashing and roiling waves. Meanwhile, the lifeguards were closing in. Their powerful strokes sliced through the water as they raced toward the unfolding tragedy. Their training prepared them for this moment, but the situation's urgency weighed heavily on their hearts. Nana's strength waned with each passing second, but her determination remained unbroken. She could see the shimmering surface of the water above, tantalizingly close. Her lungs burned for air and she fought the panic threatening to overtake her. And then, just as her strength was on the verge of giving out, the lifeguards arrived. With swift and practiced movements, they pulled Nana from the water, shielding her from the hammerhead's final ferocious lunges. The shark, frustrated and hungry, retreated into the depths, leaving behind a whirlpool of frothy turmoil. Nana's body was battered, her wetsuit torn, and her spirit shaken, but she was alive. She lay gasping on the sand as the lifeguards worked quickly to assess her injuries. Bruised and bleeding, she clung to consciousness, her gaze fixed on the endless expanse of the ocean. The spectators on the beach watched in awe and relief as Nana was carried to safety. Nana's story spread throughout the town and beyond in the following days and weeks. She symbolized resilience and courage, a testament to the ocean's unpredictability. Her experience had changed her forever, instilling a newfound respect for the sea and a keen awareness of its threats. Nana continued to surf, but her approach was different now. She analyzed the waves discerningly, always mindful of the unseen dangers below. Her fearless spirit remained, but it was tempered with wisdom and caution, a valuable lesson learned from the risks of swimming with wild predators. In the weeks that followed, John Mitchell faced a grueling rehabilitation process. His arm, though saved, bore the scars of the terrifying encounter. The once thrilling memory of his scuba diving adventure had been transformed into a cautionary tale, a reminder of the consequences of recklessness in the face of nature's power. The incident at Saunders Beach was a poignant lesson for all who ventured into the wild, whether on land or in the ocean's depths. It underscored the importance of heeding experienced leaders' guidance and respecting the natural world's boundaries. Bull sharks, majestic and fearsome, would forever be a symbol of both awe and caution in the hearts of those who had witnessed the dramatic events of that fateful day. Ultimately, John Mitchell's encounter with the bull shark was a stark reminder that nature's thrilling and beautiful wonders could turn treacherous in the blink of an eye. It was a lesson. October morning, Tiago embarked on his daily quest to explore the bounties of nature hidden within the jungle's depths. His slender canoe glided gracefully along the serene waters, propelled by Tiago's skilled paddle strokes. Periodically, he would pause, carefully stepping out onto the swampy surface, his sharp eyes scanning the undergrowth for any sign of the elusive herbs he sought. After each excursion into the wilderness, he would return to his canoe, continuing his journey deeper into the heart of the Amazon. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, Tiago decided it was time to return to the tribe. The dense canopy overhead filtered the harsh sunlight, casting mottled shadows upon the river surface. Tiago dipped his paddle into the water, its rhythmic splashes harmonizing with the chorus of the jungle. Little did he know that this ordinary day would soon become a life-or-death struggle against the unforgiving forces of nature. Without warning, a monstrous form lurked beneath the surface of the river. A colossal bull shark's dorsal fin slicing through the water surged upwards with terrifying force. The canoe was upended in an instant, sending Thiago tumbling into the murky depths of the Amazon. Panic coursed through him as he fought to regain his bearings. The bull shark, a relentless predator of the Amazon River, wasted no time closing the distance. With a swift, calculated strike, it clamped its razor-sharp jaws around Thiago's leg. Agonizing pain surged through him as he desperately grappled with the ferocious beast. The struggle was brutal, and Thiago's body bore the marks of a harrowing battle. Thiago managed to wrench himself free from the shark's grip in a final surge of determination. Blood clouded the water as he kicked towards the surface, his lungs aching for air. With a gasping breath, he broke through the surface, his injured leg throbbing with it. Their hearts sank as they realized the truth, but they pressed on, determined to find him. Their search led them to the riverbank, where they found the lifeless body of their beloved Thiago. The tribe mourned the loss of their young shaman, a guardian of their ancient knowledge. His passing was a stark reminder of the harsh and unpredictable environment they called home. In the Amazon, life and death danced an eternal, unforgiving tango. Thiago's legacy lived on in the hearts and minds of his people, who continued to rely on the skills he had passed down to them. They hunted, gathered, fished, and tended to their medicinal plants, with a profound reverence for the natural world that sustained and took their beloved Thiago. In the heart of the Amazon basin, the Topoto tribe endured, their connection to the jungle and its mysteries stronger than ever. And as they looked out upon the mighty Amazon River, they remembered Thiago Ricardo, the young shaman who had ventured into life. The job that had provided him with his daily bread and a sense of purpose was now out of reach, and his future was uncertain. The restaurant where he had once been a beloved fixture seemed a world away. Recovery was a long and painful process, both physically and emotionally. Jeffrey grappled with losing his arm, a stark reminder of the fateful evening on the Mississippi River. He faced the daunting challenge of rebuilding his life and finding new purpose and meaning in a world that had suddenly become much harsher. Jeffrey's spirit remained unbroken despite the darkness that had descended upon him. With time and determination, he learned to adapt to his new reality. He underwent physical therapy to regain his strength and mobility, and he found solace in the support of friends and family who stood by his side throughout his journey to recovery. In time, Jeffrey discovered a new passion and purpose. He became an advocate for shark conservation, using his own harrowing experience to raise awareness about the importance of protecting these misunderstood creatures and their fragile ecosystems. His story served as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the capacity to find strength and purpose, even in the face of life-altering adversity. Jeffrey Brown's name became synonymous with courage and determination in New Orleans as the years passed. He had survived the worst day of his life, and in doing so, he had not only found a way to heal. Still, he had also become a beacon of inspiration for others facing their challenges. The Mississippi River, once a source of solace and routine, had thrust him into the depths of despair. Still, his unwavering spirit had carried a improvised tourniquet, binding it tightly above the wound on Andre's leg. The makeshift tourniquet stemmed the flow of blood. With the help of others, they carefully lifted the injured fisherman into one of the kayaks. With every paddle stroke, they raced against time, the situation's urgency etched on their faces. The nearest hospital was their destination, and they knew that Andre's survival depended on reaching medical help as quickly as possible. Andre's world faded in and out of consciousness as the kayakers pushed forward, their efforts fueled by a shared determination to save a life. He was vaguely aware of their reassuring voices, encouragement, and unwavering resolve. Hours later, they arrived at the hospital, where a team of skilled medical professionals stood ready to receive Andre. His condition was critical, and he was rushed into surgery. The shark's brutal attack had left its mark, and the amputation of Andre's leg was a painful necessity to save his life. Andre's recovery was marked by physical and emotional challenges in the following days. The loss of his leg was a profound change. However, as James ventured deeper into the river, a sudden and unexpected encounter would change this idyllic day. A creature of immense power and majesty emerged from beneath the tranquil waters, a white shark. The shark, with its imposing presence, glided gracefully through the water. James, initially struck by the awe-inspiring sight, soon felt a knot of fear form in his stomach. He had heard tales of the formidable white shark and understood its dangers. The shark's curiosity led it closer to the paddleboard. With each passing moment, James's trepidation grew. He maintained his composure, knowing that panicking could only worsen the situation. He wished to paddle back to the safety of the shore, but the shark seemed to shadow his every move. In a heartbeat, the situation escalated. The great white shark, drawn by a primal instinct, circled the paddleboard with increasing determination. It swam with purpose, and James, who was now terrified, came under its colossal form. Despite his best efforts, the shark's forceful movement caused the board to capsize, sending James into the water. He struggled to resurface, gasping for breath and disoriented by the sudden turn of events. Watching helplessly from the shore, his son and other family members called out to him in alarm. In his disoriented state, James tried to regain his footing on the paddleboard. But before he could react, the white shark, driven by instinct, made a fateful decision. With a surge of power, it attacked the board, its massive jaws clamping with unimaginable force. Fortunately, she discovered the toilet was occupied and her need couldn't wait. Returning to her friends in a hurry, Jennifer shared her predicament. In response, Mara suggested she could relieve herself in the water, considering that Jennifer was already wearing a wetsuit. With a bit of hesitation but little choice, Jennifer agreed. She leaped and plunged into the welcoming embrace of the sea, where she proceeded to relieve herself before enjoying the cool waters. However, beneath the surface of the seemingly serene ocean, unbeknownst to anyone on board, a 7-foot tiger shark had detected the disturbance. Intrigued or possibly drawn by the commotion, it silently approached the scene. Jennifer Reed's carefree swim in Florida's clear, inviting waters took a sudden and terrifying turn when she was the victim of an unexpected encounter with a 7-foot tiger shark. It all happened so quickly that Jennifer's initial reaction was confused. At first, Jennifer felt a curious sensation around her leg, as if something small and inquisitive was exploring her limb. She dismissed it as perhaps a crab's playful nip. However, the sensation intensified rapidly, and she soon realized that this was no ordinary underwater interaction. Horror washed over her as her whole foot was engulfed by a much larger force, the jaws of a tiger shark. The shock and pain were instantaneous, and Jennifer instinctively screamed for help. Her cries pierced the air, alerting her friends aboard the yacht and the other students frolicking in the water nearby. She was amid a life-and-death struggle, and she knew it. Mara and Jane, enjoying the sunny day on the yacht's deck, were initially puzzled by Jennifer's cries. The commotion and the fact that she had disappeared beneath the water led them to believe she was in danger of drowning. Panic surged through them, and without hesitation, they plunged into the water, determined to rescue their friend. Jennifer resurfaced, gasping for breath, and screamed again, this time more urgently. The terror in her voice sent chills down the spines of those who heard it, realizing that something far more sinister lurked beneath the waves. The shark continued its assault for a few more agonizing seconds, its powerful jaws clamped around Jennifer's leg. She was locked in a desperate struggle with the formidable predator, her future hanging in the balance. Then, as abruptly as it had begun, the ordeal ended. The shark released its grip and vanished into the depths, leaving Jennifer to be pulled to safety. Mara and Jane acted swiftly, reaching their distressed friend and helping her back onto the yacht's safety. The teacher who had organized the trip issued a stern directive for everyone to evacuate the water. The potential danger was all too real, and caution was paramount. They made a startling discovery as they turned their attention to Jennifer's condition. A substantial chunk of flesh at the back of her leg was missing, evidence of the shark's brutal attack. The severity of the injury was a stark reminder of how close she had come to a tragic fate. It was time to get Jennifer the medical attention she urgently needed. The yacht changed course, heading back to the shore at a mere tail. Some divers claimed to have seen its entrance, guarded by the majestic creatures. An avid diver, Lily had read about the shark's lair and was keen on discovering it. She joined a diving group led by Marco Alvarez, a third-generation islander with a deep respect for the sea and its mysteries. Marco had explored almost every corner of the surrounding waters but had always steered clear of the rumored lair. The day of the dive was perfect. The sky was clear and the sea was calm. As they sailed on Marco's boat, the Laguna Explorer, he shared stories of his ancestors, the island's history, and the legends of the shark's lair. The group listened, captivated, their anticipation growing. Diving into the azure waters, they were greeted by a mesmerizing display of corals, sea turtles, and schools of fish in many colors. As they ventured deeper, Lily's sharp eyes caught a peculiar rock formation which seemed to lead into a dark crevice. Her heart raced. Could this be the entrance to the legendary shark's lair? Curiosity piqued, she signaled to Marco, pointing towards the potential entrance. Marco, recognizing the formation from descriptions passed down in local tales, hesitated. But seeing the excitement in Lily's eyes, he decided to approach cautiously. The waters grew colder as they neared the entrance, and the ambiance turned eerie. The visibility reduced, but they saw a sight that left them in awe in the dim light. A bull shark, majestic and graceful, swam out from the shadows, its eyes fixed on Lily. With its powerful build and keen eyes, the bull shark circled the divers, its curiosity evident. Lily, though initially startled, was entranced by its beauty. She had seen sharks before, but being this close to a bull shark, especially near the legendary shark's lair, was an experience she had never imagined. Sensing the shark's growing interest in Lily, Marco gently nudged her, signaling her to remain still and calm. The other divers, witnessing this encounter, maintained their positions, their breaths held in a mix of fear and fascination. Minutes felt like hours as the shark continued its dance around Lily. Then, surprisingly, it nudged her with its snout. almost as if trying to communicate or understand this intruder in its domain. Gathering her courage, Lily gently touched the shark's skin, feeling its rough texture. It was a moment of connection between humans and the wild, a testament to the wonders of nature. However, the serenity was short-lived. From the depths of the lair, more shadows emerged. A group of younger bull sharks, drawn by the commotion, approached the divers. Marco knew they had overstayed their welcome. He released a stream of bubbles, a technique known to deter sharks.
The shark recoiled, its jaws tightening around John's body, unwilling to let go of its prey. Undeterred, the guide charged forward, his knife glinting menacingly in the murky water. With each frenzied stab, he fought with all his might, plunging his blade into the beast's belly in a desperate bid to free John from its relentless grip. The water boiled with tension as the predator thrashed and writhed, its primal instincts driving it to fight until the bitter end. The struggle was fierce, and the outcome uncertain, as the guide fought tooth and nail to save John from certain doom. The water seemed to tremble with the ferocity of the battle, the guide's frantic movements illuminated by the glimmering light of the underwater world. But with each passing second, the guide's efforts paid off, and the shark's grip on John began to loosen. The atmosphere was charged with nail-biting suspense as the guide valiantly battled the predator, fighting for the lives of those in his care. Minutes felt like an eternity as John endured the excruciating pain of the shark's attack. His vision blurred, and he felt his strength fading. Katie's cry spurred the guide to fight even harder, determined to save John. At last, the bull shark succumbed to its injuries, and with one final stab from the guide's knife, it released John and retreated into the depths of the lake. The guide swiftly pulled John's limp body towards the boat, leaving a trail of blood. Katie's emotions were a mix of relief and horror. Delved deeper into the crater. A feeling of unease began to settle in the pit of their stomachs. However, while swimming, Melissa noticed a group of large shadows lurking in the murky waters. Curious, she used her underwater flashlight to shine a light on the shadows. Melissa was petrified to see a pack of tiger sharks stalking the murky waters. In a panic, Melissa swam to the surface and alerted her whole family. The family were in a frenzy, thrashing relentlessly with their efforts to reach the safety of the waiting boat. The chaos caught the attention of the sharks. The pack of sharks swam towards the commotion. Realizing that there's prey in the water, the predators went on a feeding frenzy. The rest of the family were almost upon the boat, but Melissa was not so lucky. In a matter of seconds, she was surrounded and circled around by a pack of hungry tiger sharks. Melissa could see the fins of 5 sharks circling around her. She tried to swim away as fast as she could, but the sharks were faster. Suddenly, one of the predators lunged at her, biting Melissa's left leg. Melissa screamed in agony as she felt the shark's razor-sharp teeth tear her flesh. The water around them was crimson red with Melissa's blood made with every movement. The once calm sea around her now felt like a death trap as she sensed the shark's presence closing in on her. She could hear the creature's powerful strokes through the water, its sharp senses locked onto her scent. Laura's heart raced as she realized the futility of her efforts. The shark was coming for her, and there was nothing she could do to escape. She stopped moving and closed her eyes, steeling herself for the inevitable attack. Suddenly, a massive shadow eclipsed the sun, and Laura's eyes flew open, just in time to see the shark launch itself out of the water. Its body was a blur of sleek, muscular power, its jaws wide open to reveal a terrifying arsenal of teeth. The shark was a force of nature, beautiful in its deadly grace. The jaws of the monstrous shark were only inches away from Laura's face when a sharp object pierced through the predator's open mouth, causing it to let out a piercing screech. The spear gun had landed with a resounding thud, and with one swift motion, had claimed the life of the frenzied beast. The water was stained with blood of both predator and prey, and the lifeless body of the shark bobbed up and down in the waves, a stark contrast to its former fearsome form. Laura's body went limp, her mind unable to process what just happened. She floated in the water like a lifeless doll, her eyes staring blankly at the red-stained waves around her. Suddenly, a pair of strong hands gripped her shoulders, pulling her back to reality. It was Johnny, the cameraman, who had saved her from the jaws of death. He hoisted Laura onto the boat, her body shivering from the shock. The sound of the shot that killed the shark echoed in her ears, and she knew that she owed her life to Johnny's quick thinking. However, the memory of the terrifying incident would haunt her for the rest of her days. The tiger shark seemed to be fixated on them, and it kept circling them, getting closer with every pass. Olivia's mind raced as she tried to come up with a plan. She knew that they had to stay calm and not make any sudden movements that would attract the shark's attention. They had to make themselves as small and unappetizing as possible. As the shark swam closer, Sebastian grabbed Olivia's hand and whispered to her to stay still. He knew that any sudden movements could provoke the shark and make it attack. They watched in horror as the shark came closer and closer until they could see its eyes staring at them. Suddenly, the shark turned and swam away, disappearing into the depths of the ocean. The couple let out a sigh of relief, but they knew they had narrowly escaped a terrifying fate. They started paddling towards the shore as quickly as they could, hoping that the shark wasn't following them anymore. They could feel the fear rising in their chest, but they refused to give up. They kept paddling, their arms burning with exertion. Finally, they reached the shore and they scrambled into the sand, panting and sweating. Sebastian and Olivia paddled back to the shore, shaken but grateful to be alive. They knew that they had been lucky, and they would never forget the terror they had experienced that day. From that day on, they vowed to always be aware of the dangers of the ocean and to respect its creatures, especially the mighty tiger shark. Matthew, ever since they arrived, despite bull sharks being known to be solitary hunters, many of the sharks they observed were hunting in groups, coordinating their attacks and sharing their prey. This was an unusual phenomenon, and Matthew couldn't help but wonder why this was happening. As he pondered this mystery, Gina simply shrugged it off, saying that it was just a coincidence. But Matthew knew there was more to it than that. He could sense it in the way the sharks moved, the way they communicated with each other, and the way they worked together to take down their prey. On the fourth day of their expedition along the river, while Gina and Matthew were busy filming at the mouth of the river, Gina's sharp eyes caught a glimpse of a bull shark going about its hunting routine, unperturbed by their presence. Gina signaled Matthew to join her in getting a better shot of the magnificent creature, but he urged her to leave the shark alone and exit the water. Gina, entranced by the shark's sleek movements, ignored his warnings and persisted in tracking the predator, unaware of the lurking danger nearby. Only when it was too late did she realize she had become the target of another apex predator. Dread washed over Gina as she faced a colossal 13-foot bull shark with lifeless eyes, realizing she was the hunted, not the hunter. Time stood still as she grappled with shock, her heart pounding in her chest as she tried to make sense of the situation. With lightning speed, the bull shark lunged at Gina, sinking its teeth into her neck. The sheer force of the attack was overwhelming, and Gina felt the crunch of bones as the shark's serrated teeth tore through her flesh. Blood gushed out of her carotid arteries, staining the once murky waters a horrifying shade of crimson red. Gina's body went into shock as she desperately tried to fend off the relentless predator, but her strength faded quickly. The pain in her grievous wound was unbearable, and the shark's thrashing only worsened and preserved these fragile ecosystems for future generations. As Mary descended further into the depths of the reef, she marveled at the sheer size of some of the coral formations. They were unlike anything she'd ever seen before, and she eagerly began documenting her findings. She swam gracefully, her movements fluid and precise, as she observed the intricate symbiotic relationships between the corals and the myriad of marine life that called this reef home. As Mary focused her gaze on the majestic coral formation, a sense of calm and wonder enveloped her. She marveled at its intricate patterns and vivid colors, feeling like she'd uncovered a hidden treasure in the depths of the sea. But then something changed. A prickling sensation crawled up her spine, making her turn around abruptly. Her eyes widened in horror as she spotted a massive, ominous figure emerging from the shadows. Its body was massive, its movements deliberate and calculated. Mary's heart raced as she realized that she was face to face with one of the ocean's greatest predators. The creature's cold, unblinking eyes locked onto hers, and for a moment, Mary was frozen with fear. As Mary's eyes adjusted to the shadowy figure, a wave of fear washed over her. Her heart pounded in her chest as she recognized the unmistakable shape of a 13-foot tiger shark, a predator that could easily overpower her with its muscular body and razor-sharp teeth. The water around her seemed to grow colder as the shark circled her, its menacing gaze never leaving her vulnerable form. Mary's muscles tensed as she remembered her extensive training, knowing that every second counted in this deadly game of survival. With trembling hands, she reached for the knife strapped to her thigh, her fingers fumbling for a moment before finally closing around the hilt. She held the shark, but it was too powerful. It thrashed and ragdolled her under the water, the surrounding water turning dark red with her blood and pieces of flesh from the brutal attack. Mary's screams were muffled by the water as she fought for her life, but the shark was relentless. With one loud crunch, The shark bit off Mary's leg, leaving her defenseless and fading fast. She felt the pain and despair wash over her.